Hello, everyone, and welcome to a wonderful game from the final round of this, today's Title Tuesday. It is Magnus Carlsen versus India's 77th Grandmaster, 19-year-old Aditya Mittal. For bonus points, how many Grandmasters does India have, if anyone knows? And, a lot of you requested this, as this is Magnus Carlsen's first tournament after becoming a father. Last month on the 27th, he became a father, and he got a baby boy, so we've already congratulated him. But now it's time to see how it will affect his chess. He missed the first Title Tuesday, but not the second one. The second one he is playing. So let's check it out. Magnus has the white pieces, and he opens with knight to f3. He goes for the Reti opening, pawn to d5. We have pawn to g3, pawn to g6, and pawn to c4. We have d captures and knight to a3. If anyone is new to this new format of Title Tuesday, it's no longer 3+1. Now it's a 5+0. So if you run out of time, you just run out of time. Knight a3, as chess was intended to play. We have bishop to g7 and knight captures on c4. We have knight to c6 and pawn to d3. Pawn to e5, we have bishop to d2 and knight g to e7. Again, all theory, as you can see, both of them are just blitzing out moves. Bishop g2, we have castles kingside, and bishop to e6. And here, we're still in known territory. For example, rook to c1. This was also played in the game Anand versus Maxim Vachier-Lagrave in Norway Chess of 2018 in the blitz section. But here we already deviate. With pawn to h6, we have pawn to b4 by Magnus, and pawn to a6. We have pawn to a4, preparing pawn to b5. And here there are a couple of games where rook to b8 was played, but here we have pawn to b5, and it is now, as of move 12, that we have a completely new game. And while we're already here, if you still haven't, click on the first link in the description below. It is a link to the tournament. Tomorrow we're organizing a tournament, the third iteration of the Lotus Lichess Arena, the October one. It's going to be, as usual, 2-hour arena, 3+0. Last time we had over 500 players. So there are some prizes. There are money prizes. There are prizes in the form of subscriptions to Lotus. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to be joined by the creators of Lotus Chess, by Maxime and Rafael, and we're going to have a good time answering your questions and just talking all about different things like art, philosophy, and, of course, chess. So do join. It's going to be a lot of fun. Getting back to the game, we have knight back to a3, putting pressure again on the b5 pawn, rook to b8, and a captures on b5. We have a captures and rook to c5, putting pressure on the b5 pawn, and Aditya goes queen to d7. Nicely developing, connecting the rooks. We have knight captures on b5, rook to b6, and queen to c1, doubling up on the c file. Magnus says, all right, you gave up a pawn, and I don't really see your compensation. I'm also attacking the h6 pawn. So how are you defending this? Well, Aditya finds a very nice idea. He plays knight d5, bishop captures on h6. We have knight captures on b4, bishop captures on g7, king captures on g7, and now knight back to c3, followed by pawn to f6. So, okay, he's down a pawn, but he consolidated. The e5 pawn is defended. Is there a way for Magnus to look for something here? Well, he goes knight e4. We have rook to f7, as that c7 pawn needs to be defended as much as possible, so the knight on c6 can move. You can see the rook and queen pressuring that c7 pawn. Pawn to h4 and bishop to f5. We have king to h2, knight to d8, and here Magnus just goes for it. He plays knight captures on f6. And the idea is, of course, he wants to remove the defender of the c7 pawn and then just capture on c7. But Aditya doesn't have to capture with this rook. He can also capture with this rook. So rook b captures on f6, and now knight captures on e5. Okay, Magnus will give up 2 pieces for the rook, but he also wins a lot of pawns. Remember, he was already up a pawn when he started the combination. So queen to d4, we have knight captures on f7, knight captures, and of course rook captures on c7. So now, yes, there are 2 knights for Magnus's rook, but Magnus is also up 4 pawns. And 4 pawns, I mean, that's a lot. Queen to e5, we have queen to c4 by Magnus, putting pressure on the knight, and knight to a6. And here, Magnus's next move is pretty much a no-brainer. Like I said, he's already up 4 pawns, and he can take 2 pieces for the rook. So he just gives it up. Rook captures on f7, rook captures, and queen captures on a6. We have queen captures on e2. He gives up a pawn, but it's not a problem. Queen to a1 with check, king h7, and now rook e1, giving up another pawn, as he just has so many of them. We have queen captures, sorry, not on d3, queen captures on f2 was played, and now rook to e8. Going for rook to h8 or queen to h8, both will be checkmate. So king h6, we have rook to h8 check, rook to h7, and now queen to c1 check. King to g7, queen to c3 check, we have king to h6 and queen to f6. Going for queen to f8 check, queen to c5, stopping that, and now pawn to d4, trying to kick away the queen to get that queen to f8 check. Queen to a3, keeping around this diagonal, but the problem is there is a forced checkmate in 7, and it's not easy to spot the first move. So feel free to pause the video and win the game as quickly as possible for Magnus while I give you a couple of seconds. The move that gets it done instantly is pawn to g4. This is what Magnus played. Aditya played one more move. He played bishop captures on g4, and the idea is that if the bishop just moves, then g5 check, king h5, and that's it. Bishop f3, king captures, rook captures will be checkmate. So after bishop captures on g4 was played, after g4, bishop captures on g4 was played, and Magnus just played rook to g8, and he was in this position on move 40. That Aditya Mittal resigned the game, as there is nothing more to be done. There is no defense. Now the threat is rook captures on g6, checkmate, but also if you somehow defend the g6 pawn by playing bishop f5, then queen g5 is also checkmate, as the rook has taken away the g7 square from the black king. So very nicely done by Magnus in the final round. Sorry, I just figured out there's a C on the robot, even though this is a blitz game. Last video I was showing a classical game. But even though Magnus won the last game, he didn't do all that impressively in the tournament. He got 15th place. The tournament was won by Alireza Firouzja. And it was a pretty wild tournament, a lot of crazy games. If you have any favorites, use that hashtag suggestion and I will go over it. But mostly we are returning to the European Team Championship, as a lot of great games are being played there. But I know you guys really wanted to see a Magnus game, his first tournament after becoming a father. So he's still able to play a decent chess. But yeah, like I said, I would really love it if you guys can join tomorrow. First link in the description below. It's gonna be a great arena, play chess, join us for some fun. We can chat. It's gonna be awesome. Hope to see you there. I would like to thank Robert Arathun, Rokaho, John Anderson, Ulrich Tini, and Gerard St. Pierre for your contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing to check up on your wonderful suggestions and whatever else happens in the chess world. Thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.